All right, so I think we're good. So I'll go ahead and get started. I'm so happy and honored to be here with all of you today. Lake Harriet Spiritual Center is so special to my heart. And I used to live in Minneapolis and, speak there, attend there, and connect, lead workshops, all kinds of fun things. And I live in Atlanta. I moved here 3 years ago-ish now. And so I'm really always excited to get to come back and share this space with all of you. Hopefully it's not too chilly there as we move into the equinox and Ostera, the first day of spring yesterday, this weekend. It's about in the 50s to 60s here today, so not as cold as it was in Minneapolis when I lived there. So, but still a little bit chilly for down here. And I know people are probably curious, and it kind of sets a little bit of a tone of what we're talking about today with embracing discomfort. We had the shootings here, just a few days ago. And I actually am the founder of the Healers Academy. And I have a partner, my client and colleague. She's amazing. Her name is Maki Manning, and she's Japanese. And she's expanding the Healers Academy of the Japanese language right now, and into translating all that curriculum. And we've already started those groups. And so, I have a lot of Asian clients and friends and community here, and so it's been really heavy. But it really comes back to exactly what we're talking about. And I love that the Spiritual Center has this topic for your month, embracing discomfort. And I feel like that's something we always need to be in attunement with, but it's a really important time for all of us to be in these kinds of discussions, and this kind of, how we can collectively come together and share conversation and share energies around what is showing up that's uncomfortable, so we know how to best navigate these waters, right? So I think you guys, I don't know, that maybe there's some people here. Maybe if you know who I am, say in the chat box like, "Hey Jess," or "You're new to me" or something. I'd love to see who my old faces are. So if you don't know who I am, I'm a healer and a mentor, and I really am focused on teaching ascended healing, which is really something, these teachings have moved through me from the divine, God, source consciousness, angels, masters, to be able to deliver these teachings, these healings, and these messages, for people to activate the love and the wisdom in their own heart. And so my commitment in the world, my why, is really about leading with love, right? And that's really what embracing discomfort is all about. So we all know that energy is everything, right? That is something we can all really arrive at together today. And I want to share with you, we're going to do something kind of interactive today. I'm going to share with you some ascended healing techniques to manage and recycle and ascend your energy so you can move through experiences of discomfort, right? So right now, we know that we're walking out of this third dimensional paradigm. It's kind of like a building. It's kind of what it looks like to me, right? And it has all these patterns, right? It's this blueprint. We're walking out of that third dimensional blueprint and we're stepping into a fifth dimensional field where we're co-creating a new reality individually, collectively, right? In the world, through all aspects of our being. We're seeing what we are no longer willing to participate in, and we are committed to being the catalyst for change. We are in a great time of resurrection, right? We know that we are resurrecting from what we don't want to move into what we do want. And this time of year, which is spring, Easter, this is a powerful time to work with the flame of resurrection, which I'm going to take you through in the guided meditation and healing today. And the flame of resurrection is one of the 7 main rays or flames from source that we work with. And that really is going to help you amplify whatever needs to clear, what cords need to be cut, so that you can rise into your truest version of yourself, embodying those crystalline energies. So every day I sit with something uncomfortable, right? I am uncomfortable every single day. I've been on a healing journey, a spiritual journey for pretty much my whole life, but I still experience discomfort. But I have the tools to be able to navigate and work through them pretty efficiently, right? And so I don't stay in discomfort. And I think there's a lot of misalignment or miseducation or misunderstanding, whatever it may be, in that spiritual journey and path, that there's a this or a that, right? You can feel really uncomfortable and experience emotions and still be in alignment and still be grateful and still be in living in your purpose, or whatever that language or focus area of focus is for you. But every day I have some kind of thought that tries to creep in that tells me to play small, right? And I get to embrace it and decide who I'm going to be. And I get the choice, and this is the most important thing today. You can even write this down if you feel called. I have the choice to alchemize that thought into more gold for my soul, right? Because we are master alchemists, right? We are made from pure love, and all energy cannot be created or destroyed, right? As Albert Einstein said, it can be transformed from one form to another. So that's what we do as alchemists, right? So connecting with our inner alchemist and saying, this is uncomfortable, this is present, moving and leaning into it. And how am I going to transform it into gold for my soul? And then gifting that forward for others, right? Every day I experience discomfort, right? In my thoughts, in my workouts, my yoga, right? I get to breathe through it, trust my body to be stronger. I get to choose how I'm going to move through everything in my life and really shift my energy. Um, I experience as an empath. I'm probably sure most of you are empaths or highly sensitive here. If put in the chat box if you resonate with being an empath or highly sensitive. I'd like to see who here is resonant with that. I experience an array of emotions every day. I feel anger, I feel sadness, for a lot of mostly what's going on in the world, right? With anything that is opposition to love, anything that is around separation, that is around racism, that is around poverty, anything that's painful, right? It stirs emotion in me, it stirs sadness, it stirs anger. And so I feel those things, but I also feel gratitude that we are doing so much good in the world, that we are light leaders, that we do get to experience love, that the bird is chirping, right? Like all of the miracles that are happening all of the time, right? But that doesn't take me out of my power, because I'm living from a space of compassion. And this is going to really get into the subject that I want you to nail in for yourself today, which is sourcing. Really looking at where you're sourcing your energy from, right? Because you can have all of these things going on, but it's about where you're sourcing from. Okay. So I have this phrase that I love, a mantra, and it says, my identity is divinity. So if that speaks to you, I invite you to write it down. My identity is divinity. So I decided a really long time ago that that is what I was going to experience, that I was not going to source my energy from lower vibrational experiences, thoughts, feelings, past wounds. I decided, right? That's a big word. I decided, right? Because you have a choice in everything. I decided that my source would be through my own heart and God, the divine, the consciousness, the universe, because what I know to be true through all things that I've been through and that I witness is that love, right? Love, period. My favorite quote in the world is by Wayne Dyer, love, period. I feel like that really sums it up. It's a full sentence. Love is the beginning and love is at the end. Love is why we exist and is why we do anything. And we are forever and always returning to this frequency and this experience inside of our own hearts. We are returning to this like wild center within where our hearts are breaking free of these old conformities, these shadow aspects, right, that we no longer wish to identify with. So, right, I'm going to pause there and I want all of us to take a deep breath together. And just think about for a moment what you've identified with that no longer serves you. And to feel into with your identity. My identity is divinity. What does that look and feel like for you? What are you sourcing from in that energy? And I want you just to sit in that for a moment and notice the contrast, right, between the two. Notice how you feel from one to the other. Beautiful. And you can kind of come back here with me when you're ready. And if you don't have a pen and a paper journal, definitely grab one, even if you just use like your notes on your phone. I love to do that a lot when I'm out places. And I want to remind you that you're a multidimensional being, right? And if you know this, like you get it. And if it's new language to you, what I want you to understand is there are so many parts to you, right? You are a multidimensional being. You have a mental body, you have a mind, right? You have an emotional body, you have a physical body with many organs and glands and systems and all kinds of amazing things going on, cells and DNA, right? And then you have what we called your field. We call your field, your energy field. So, we always hear mind, body, soul, but your energy field includes so many aspects, right, of the quote, quote, soul. Your energy field includes your chakras, your auric fields, your meridians, your nadis, your crystalline energy, your soul blueprint, your Akashic records, your past life, right? Like on and on. You are this multidimensional being. And when you learn how to work with all parts of your being, right, instead of just one operating, when you understand your operating system is the divine as a multidimensional being versus your emotional body, which is very third dimension to only navigate from emotional body, because we were programmed, right, to be controlled in that experience, that if you're this, then you're that, right? Instead, and that's limiting, and that's what we're breaking free of, is this limiting kind of energy to embody our full and true self power, right? It's kind of like through this ascension shift, every single day is like a pilgrimage of coming home to yourself, right? um, and we know with all the change that we're experiencing and creating, there's discomfort, right? There's discomfort present. So what we're going to do first, you can get your pen and paper out. I want you to write down where you may be sourcing energy, right? Where are you sourcing energy? And this is a really important topic because there are a lot of external ways we source energy that we're not conscious of. So you could be sourcing energy from, TV shows, movies, social medias, news, there are all kinds of places you source energy from. You could also be sourcing energy from nature, from friendships, from, right there are ways in which feed us love, and then there are things that feed frenzy and fear. So I want you to just kind of take a look at that for yourself right now, not in judgment, and compassion, to, right, just to look at where do you want to maybe shift some things, right? Where do you want to kind of elevate your experience? So just take a moment there and look at where you've been sourcing things. And then after you write them out, I want you to put in the chat box, um, what has been the most, like, what is the most uncomfortable thing that you're sitting with right now or showing up for you? Because we want to look at recycling all of that in the healing. So I don't know why, but it's all kind of going direct message to me. But so we have one person wrote, family and home environment has been a lot of sourcing for me since the pandemic. Such a good example. And there's probably things that are in that are feeding the frenzy and the fears, and also things that are, feeding and growing love. And that's probably a lot of different things going on inside of that. And very, very good to bring up, this pandemic really, on a spiritual level, right? Because there are many layers and levels to what we're experiencing. But on the ascension perspective and spiritual, view is like there's last year, everybody's going through a mass awakening, right? And they're being called to sit and embrace the discomfort, right? It's literally what we're talking about today, because what we were participating in was no longer working. And we have not experienced the entire world to come into a space of stillness, to kind of break that cycle, right? And so there's so many different things inside of that, but such a powerful thing to bring up. So thank you for sharing that. So you guys can put in the chat box, what is that biggest number one thing that's showing up for you right now that's very uncomfortable, very emotional? It could be personal, it could be the collective, whatever it may be. Ooh. Oh, so I think you guys can only direct message me, or that's fine. Lake Harriet, there's not a group chat option set up for this meeting. That's okay. You can just message me if you guys are having trouble messaging. So where it says to at the bottom, you can send it to me. I think it says to everyone. You can choose to send it to everyone in meeting. It allows me to choose that. Let me see if it works. Yeah, it works. You can in the bottom right, it says you can choose to, and just select everyone.
I'll have to change that just because we
Oh,
get trouble with people messaging, so that's why it's private. They can only message a
oh,
host or
okay.
co-host.
Okay, gotcha. Well, or they can just message me, whatever's easier for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. You guys just message me then. Sorry, I didn't know. It's because I'm the host too with him. Okay. So you guys go ahead and send me the message. Or if you want to raise your hand, you can raise your hand too, and I can call on you. And then Gary can unmute you if you prefer to share it, vocally. So we have someone just sent me a message, says what's showing up is around friends, spiritual beliefs, and family. Yeah.
And I've allowed people to unmute themselves now so
Oh,
they can,
if they
if they
want to
have
raise their
questions.
hand. Okay. Yeah. I think if you raise your, I'm just going to change to the view the gallery. I can see if you raise your hand.
Fear of the unknown.
Hi, Laura.
Hi, Jessica.
Hey. Yeah. And do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Um, I used to be one very much as a do, and now sitting in a stillness and being experiencing the social isolation of living alone in elderly congregate housing is quite an adjustment. And so the ability to contact others, to be able to share a smile, to acknowledge someone else's presence, um, that has kind of fallen away at the present time. And then being a doer, is fear of, in the old, I used to know how to be the Energizer Bunny. I don't in this new.
Mhm. What do you think that means for you?
It's an ending
Mhm.
and a beginning emerging. And as I approach my 74th birthday, not knowing what, and making peace with that, and finding creative ways to connect with others, and learning learning technology.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom is on here, I believe, and she's 74 this year. And so I 100% have these kinds of conversations with her too. Um, so yeah, I think there's so much there. And it's kind of like we're breaking up with the overdoing, right, we're kind of breaking up with that, and then embodying love, right, that there's nothing we need to do to receive love, to be love. We are love, we're made from love. And that is this detoxification process, right, mind body field that occurs. Oh, so sorry guys. Real life, real Zoom life. That's Manji. Here he comes back. And I think, that a lot of our hearts are heavy in that way as we're, in stillness. We can call it isolation. We can also get to call it stillness. And I love how you're like, you get to come up with creative ways to connect with yourself and with others. And right, what are you going to do with it? But the truth is, this is the interesting thing about the unknown to me. You actually don't have control over anything except who you're going to be, right? That's all you have control over. And so even before the pandemic, there was actually, you lived in a continuum of uncertainty. You just thought you were controlling things by your actions, right? All of us. And hey, I was like I was the queen of productivity and overachieving. So like I was the do bunny, right? Like, I understand, because I didn't feel safe or loved since I was born, right? And so I healed those core wounds, right? And now I understand and I embody that I am love, and I don't need to do anything. I don't even need to be anything other than love to receive love, right? And and that's really what it's all about, is trusting and knowing that we're always in the unknown, and that you can trust yourself, and that you can trust God, creator, the universe, whatever your language is. The divine is always there to hold space for you, right? And we're all navigating through that time right now together. You're not alone in that, right? We're all breaking up with our own individual versions of how we're going to decide to exist and be. Um, yeah, mom, go ahead. I'll let you say something quick. My mom wants to share something with you.
Yeah, I totally resonate with everything that you said, Laura, because as we get older, we've always been aware there's an unknown, but as we get older, it becomes a bigger being in our life because there is so many things. We've lived through so many things, and now we have to continue, but we have so much more age and wisdom. And where am I going to be? What am I going to do? I totally resonate. And I'm 74 also. So yeah, that's right. That's it. Bye.
Thanks, mom. Yeah, but I love that, whether we're 5 or 25 or 45 or 75 or wherever we are in our timeline, I feel like the call to action is the same, right? And that's about this returning to yourself, recycling the energy. So thank you so much for sharing that, Laura, because I think a lot of people, no matter what age bracket they're in, right, in their timeline, are feeling that, right? And that's that anxiety that rises when you are feeling like you're out of control. But when you let go of all of that, that's when we experience the freedom. But each person does that, right? It's kind of like if you, when you're detoxing, right? Because we're going through this massive energetic detox. When you're physically detoxing, you don't want to have a Herx reaction, right? Your body can only let go of so much at once, right? That's what we're doing energetically as we go through this resurrection and this detox of this awakening phase we're in ascension, right? We can only process so much of our own mental, emotional, and core wound, you know, all the experiences we've had, whether it was this life or past lives, whatever we're clearing. And that is so personal to each person, but also we're experiencing the collective. So it's about honoring where you are each day, not that we're in a destination to like be from here to here, right? It's about being fully present. And that's where we get to trust in the unknown, right? But we are detoxing the things as they rise out of us to say, I see you, I witness you, I thank you, I give life to you. And then I'm going to allow this charge to release, right? So that this emotion doesn't have such a charge, right? That's triggered from this experience or this ideation or this limiting belief, and then it's allowed to dissolve, right? It's allowed to dissolve from the different aspects of your mind, body, and field. So powerful. So we have some other people wrote fear of not making the right decision. That again is so much about the same thing. Trust, right? Trusting yourself and trusting that you're supported, right? And starting to look at, you know, where that's sourced from. Like, why is that showing up for you around the decision? Where did that begin for you? You know, at what age, what experience did you start to separate from yourself and not trust in your decisions and in your own voice? To be able to be fully expressed, right? That's what we're all doing on this planet, is becoming fully expressed, mind, body, field, relationships, purpose, and we're getting rid of all the things that are, you know, limiting us in any way around that. So I don't know if you wanted to share. I saw you come up here, Ruben. Did you want to share something more about that?
There's something silly about it. I know that, you know, in the end, no decision really is a wrong decision, because if you make a mistake, you learn from it. So you move on. It's just a different decision. But I'm a perfectionist. So unless it is absolutely perfect, I don't like it. And I need to get away from that.
Yeah. So it's as simple as that you get to decide to no longer participate in that. So I would invite you to even not say that ever again. Like,
Mhm.
because you're identifying and saying, I'm a perfectionist.
Mhm.
So the I am is very powerful. So let's cut that out if that's not what you want to experience, right? And say, I am open and I am willing to fully express myself and be creative, right? Or whatever language serves you and it excites you. It has to be exciting for you, right? And then you start writing those things and embodying them, and you break up with the ideation, right, of perfectionism, because perfectionism isn't real. Right? It's some third dimensional imprint that was placed upon you from whatever life experience you had, or the, you know, society, wherever it came from. There was an imprint that said that you're not good enough in some way, and so you have to make it all perfect all the time and control everything so that you are XYZ, right? And so all of us have our own stories and our own experiences, but at the foundation, right underneath it, are the common denominators, how I'd like to say that, we still all experience those same kinds of emotions. And even though our wounds are different, they also still are the same. And so I think it's so important that we know, as we embrace discomfort, that we're not alone in it. And that's how we're coming together as a humanity, as a collective consciousness, to say, I see you and you see me, right? And we're on this road together, right? We're not alone in this. And I think that that is so powerful, to be able to come forward and share our lights, you know, individually, and then shine them together, right?
This perfectionism is from my mother, which was from her mother. So it's time to drop it
Yeah.
along the way.
And
Yeah.
that's so much, we're all being called so much to clear lineage. And,
Mhm.
we don't have time. That's a whole nother talk for another day. But my mom and I have done a lot of lineage clearing in the past 3, 4 years. And we have a really powerful story, that we can share with people at a later time around that. But, we're here to clear that entanglement and to dissolve those energies through all space, time, and dimensions and lineages, right? Because we're breaking free. We're saying we're ending that cycle. We're no longer going to carry that forward on the planet. We're no longer going to participate in that energy. And it's only strengthening the bonds of unconditional love with your feminine or your masculine lineage, right? But we're cutting and clearing all the crap out, right? But we're bonding with that cord of unconditional love. And I think that's important, especially if this conversation is new to some of you, because you can feel when you're clear, a lot of clearing that we're talking about today will show up around relationships, right? Whether they're family or romantic or friendships or whatever. And people are afraid of the pull away when you're not. You're creating a stronger bond of that unconditional love, whether those people are in your life, with boundaries or not, or they've crossed on or whatever that may be. Um, we're all going to return to that source of love. So it's, we're being called to work with that now. So important. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so let's go to the second piece here. Just pull up my notes because I'm taking you through a journal process that I take my students through in the Healers Academy. So you looked at where you're sourcing energy, right? And, personally and collectively. And I want to speak one more point on that is like if I watch a show, a TV show or a movie, and it's not lighthearted, like, it will take me 2 or 3 weeks to completely remove that imprint from my thoughts and my field, right? Because it's created some kind of energy in me. So I'm very sensitive to watching anything that's not super lighthearted. But just think about that, like what you listen to, what you pay attention to, and when you're scrolling on social media, oh, I invite you to only follow people who are inspiring and empowering you in some way, right? And even if you're really close to them, maybe you need to just go away for a while and then come back, like, a tidal wave, right? You come in and come out. Because that energy is affecting you in some way, right? And so you want to make sure that you're taking care of you. I'm looking at where you're sourcing. And I just like to call it like strengthening every week, every day. Like it's not a hard stop, right? It's like, oh, this feels good. This doesn't feel good, right? And starting to trust yourself in that. So I just wanted to kind of add a note in there about that because it's a big thing, what people put on social media, and it is imprinting you when you see it in some way. It's coming into the subconscious in some way. So we looked at where you may be sourcing energy, kind of the positive side, and then also things that are feeling really uncomfortable. Um, and the second thing I want you to do is look a little bit deeper, and I want you to ask yourself this question: what influence am I under? Am I under the influence of fear or love? Now, this is a question that you get to ask yourself on the day to day when things show up for you. Because I really am giving you tools to take away to embrace discomfort in your day to day. I'm really big about this talk, being able to take these tools and weave them into your life as you need them. So, what influence am I under? Right? Am I under the influence of fear or love? That is a really powerful question. A really powerful question. And you can apply it to in this relationship or in this conversation or on social media with it, really kind of insert your personal experience. Am I under the influence of love or fear? Right? Am I under the influence of harmony and peace and prosperity or lack and suffering? Right? Am I under the influence of trusting in myself and the divine? Or am I in resistance? Right? And from another question you can ask yourself underneath this question in your practice is, what is my path of least resistance today? And this is a question I ask myself every morning, every morning. And I have a really tight schedule because I have a lot of things going on with my business and my Healers Academy and all the things with, my card deck and stuff. And then life, taking care of myself. So it's a full schedule, right? But it's not a busy, overworked schedule. And I get to ask myself, what is the path of least resistance today? And if I need to shift things, I have my schedule set up in a way in which I can. Right? So you've got to really set things up for yourself in a way that you can feel good or manage your energy, right? While you're also embracing discomfort and processing. So I have a couple other questions that are really powerful here for you to take away. Sometimes you also may be under both influences, fear and love, right? Often that shows up, right? Because you're like, wow, I feel really grateful and happy, but also am feeling these things. I'm also feeling fearful of this. And so that's the invitation to go through this process I'm about to give you every day. So there are a few words here to write down. So recognize or acknowledge what's present, right? Feel what is present. Thank you. Number 3, you're thanking it, whatever's present. And number 4 is ascend, A-S-C-E-N-D, A-S-C-E-N-D, ascend. So recognize, feel, thank you, ascend. So when we recognize, we notice what's present. Why is it here for me to feel and sit with, right? What is this discomfort? Why is it present? Right? Because it's going to give you a gift, right? Everything will give you a gift, right? I don't believe that everything happens for a reason, because that would kind of make no sense that we're here and that we all have free will, right? But I do believe that everything is a gift for us, right? To be able to work with in the ways that can serve our souls. So we said, what is present? Okay, so the next thing you'll do with this, after you say, what is present? Why is it here for me to feel and sit with? Then I want you to write out everything that you feel. Now, one of the things I recommend for my clients and students is they have an anger or a hate journal, right? I don't love the word hate, but we have to get it out of our bodies. We have to get it out of the mental body, emotional body, physical body. Some people like to write on, this is something I'll do. If I'm working something out, these drawing pads from like Amazon, or just piece of paper, whatever, and you want to burn it in a safe container later. But some people they just have a journal to get the stuff out, like, oh, I just got to purge all these emotions. And you gotta give it life. You gotta speak its truth, right? To transform it. And this is a step that a lot of people skip on their healing journey or their manifestation. They're trying to just kind of jump from A to Z and not do the things in between, right? There are steps to processing your emotions and shifting your energy. Another thing that a lot of my students and clients and myself have is a wealth journal where we write all our manifestations. And this is really powerful because you can activate your energy by reading through it each day, or placing your hand upon a page or the book, right? And just really feeling all of your manifestations, right? Which are your desires? What do you desire as it's already done? This is really cool process. It's kind of another little process, but it's something nice you can have. Okay. And then when you write everything out that you feel, you give it life and it loses its charge. I kind of talked about that a little bit already. When there's an emotional charge and discomfort and you pay attention to it, then you're able to neutralize it, right? Because you're recycling the energy back to love. So that's why this first step is so important. So I'm just going to say it again real quick. Recognize, feel, thank you, ascend. What is present? Why is it here for me to feel and sit with? Write out everything you feel, okay? Then the next part of this is you decide. You ask yourself, what do I want? It could be, what do I want today? What do I want with this particular relationship or area of focus I'm working through? Whatever that is for you personally. What do I want? Ask yourself also, what beliefs say I can't have this? And it could even be collectively, like world peace, right? Or whatever that is. Ask yourself, what beliefs say I can't have this? Okay. And then I want you to cross those beliefs out. Okay. So decide, what do you want? Ask yourself, what beliefs say I can't have this? Cross out any beliefs that are limiting. The next part of this is you ask yourself, how do I want this to work out for me? How do I want this to work out for me? This is the best, most powerful way to embrace discomfort. You are feeling it, you're leaning into it, you're inviting it in, you're sitting with it each day, but you're not getting stuck in it or falling apart in it or identifying with only the lower vibrational emotions, right? You're saying, I am in my power. I am choosing to go into that center space in my heart. And I'm going to be present with this and I'm going to alchemize this experience for myself because the desired outcome is what I want of this is what I'm going to choose to focus on. That doesn't mean we're processing the emotions, right? We're not ignoring them. We are aware of what's going on in the world. We're choosing how we're going to participate and contribute, right? We're choosing how we're going to give and receive in each experience for ourselves individually and collectively. But that's how we ascend, right? If we stay in, love begets love, right? Hate begets hate, right? We're going to grow energy where we flow it, right? But we have to process what shows up and honor those feelings along the way. So then the next couple of questions that you can use in this process are, after how do I want this to work out for me? Are there aligned actions to take? Because sometimes there is doing. Often it's about the question, where can you let go and be, right? Where can you embody faith and trust? Where can you let go? Where can you sit in stillness? Where can you go for a walk, breathe, trust? And sometimes there are aligned actions to take, right? What do you need to do to take care of your mind or your physical body or your emotions, right? This journaling process I'm giving you is an alchemy process. It is an aligned action. That's doing. It's also participating in being. And then the last step in this process is embodying the feelings you want to experience. Okay? Embodying the feelings you want to experience. So, what would your future self, who has decided to source from your heart instead of externals, right? What would your future self, who decided to source from your heart and trust your heart while embracing discomfort, what would that future self tell you, right? So, an example is you're feeling, right? We'll talk about the unknown because we were talking about it. I have a fear of the unknown, right? I'm fearing this unknown. So, you process your emotions, you do the process I just shared with you. And then this last step is you want to ask your future self, what do you have to say to me, around this fear of the unknown I'm experiencing? I'm very uncomfortable, but I trust your guidance because you're my future self and you're the person who's co-created this reality that I decided I want to experience, right? And then follow that guidance because your higher self, your future self is not wrong, right? The number one voice that I teach people to listen to is the voice of your higher self, the voice of, your true self, your heart, whatever language resonates with you, right? Not the critic, not those imprints, right? Limitations, but what does your true higher self say to you and guide you, right? That is what you want to listen to. So this process really helps you get out of a third dimensional lens perspective where things are this or that. I've kind of said that already. It brings you into a space of healthy spirituality, which is honoring all parts of your multidimensional self. And if you just sum all this up in 3 words, it's like lead with love, right? That's really what I believe in is, for example, like I said, those shootings, it's really, I could very easily drown in emotions, right? I could drown in a sea of emotions, but is that serving me? No. Is how can I show up, right? How can I best process my emotions, honor how I feel, and then show up and lead in love and stay on track with that, stay in momentum with that. I'm aware, right, of what's going on, but I'm choosing how I'm participating, right? And I think that's so important for all of us to understand. So I'm going to just open it up for just a couple of minutes here for any questions that you have around that process. That's an alchemy process, to embrace discomfort and to stay in your power, to also activate your dormant DNA. So you're activating your crystalline energy in this process. And after we do a few questions, then I'll take you through a really powerful healing meditation too. So you can just raise your hand, or it looks like you can unmute if you have a question.
Can you repeat the alchemizing? It started with, I have the power to alchemize this, and I didn't catch the rest. It was your first statement about into gold.
Well, you could kind of insert anything, but I have the power to alchemize this emotion, this experience, this, this thought, right? Into gold for my soul.
Thank you.
You can kind of insert your own thing. So this is something that you're going to personalize for yourself, right? So it's like, if you're thinking like unworthiness, that's a big topic for people. Like, I do not feel good about myself, right? So I get to alchemize these feelings of shame or guilt or fear into gold for my soul. And then that process, this is how you do it, right? Or I'm noticing I'm very uncomfortable today. And I also like the word uncomfortable versus pain. And I'll tell you kind of briefly why. I was a person who associated with pain for a long time as my identity, and I broke up with that. And so it's softer about how we can choose to participate in healing, right? So it's not as heavy, our approach. So discomfort is a better word. It can feel really uncomfortable, but it's like, oh, I know this pain, right? It's a different energy. So play with that for whoever needs that. But so you can say, I just noticed a lot of discomfort in my body today, right? So you're being an observer of your energy in your life. So I'm really noticing discomfort because there were these shootings, right? And so I'm feeling this sadness and anger around my heart chakra and solar plexus. And so I'm going to alchemize this energy into gold for my soul and to gift that forward for others. So I'm going to go through this process now to do that, right? Because that's saying I'm in my power. I'm not powerless over this experience, right? I'm not going to allow it to suck me down into this negative vortex where I experience really dense things. I'm going to get to process these emotions and stay in alignment with my true self and my passion and purpose here, right? Does anybody else have any questions? And is this helpful for you? Put in the chat box if is this helpful for you, or do you feel like you understand it, or you have more questions about it? I know it's a detailed process, but it's very powerful. And once you do it once or twice, it is really simple to be able to transform things. It works miracles for myself, my clients, to transform any kind of things that are showing up, to shift that energy. And you can use this around any experience, relationships, mindset, anything you're manifesting, anything you're healing, right? Anything that's uncomfortable, really anything, right? You just kind of insert whatever's showing up for you. Okay, great. So Jennifer said, extremely helpful, great tips and questions for transforming steps instead of just acknowledgement. Yes, that's so important, because a lot of times people are like, well, I feel this sadness and then I don't really know what to do with it, right? And what are you moving it into, right? It is really powerful. Yeah. Okay, well, let's go into the healing meditation. So you guys are a quiet bunch today. Usually it's probably because it's Sunday morning and it's so relaxing. And as we move into this equinox energy, usually everybody's asking lots of questions um, or sharing. So I'll have you go ahead and close your eyes. And we'll take a few deep breaths here. And I want you to inhale through your nose today for a count that feels good for you. And let the belly rise on the inhale. And when you exhale through your nose, letting the belly fall, I just want you to keep the same count for your inhale and exhale so that you're in conscious awareness of your breath. So you're in your body. And I want you to just imagine that there is a beautiful vortex of light above you, a blue and golden light, and that everything that you wish to let go of and recycle today will be cleared through this vortex of light with Archangel Michael and the divine. And these energies are recycled on your behalf and in honor of you. There's nothing you need to do. Just focus on your breath. Decide to let go of what no longer serves you. Decide who you want to be and feel into the creativity and the expression of your desires. And I want you to also breathe into any discomforts, whatever your number one thing is that you wrote down at the beginning. And I want you to just see it in front of you. And there may be more than one, and that's okay. Just kind of put them in a little circle together. Witness and acknowledge what's present with the thought, the person, the people, the thing, the experience. And flow compassion to yourself into those people, places, things. And feel the gratitude for the gifts it has brought you. And just say thank you. Thank you to the people, places, experience, thoughts, things. Trust and know that all those energies are being recycled on your behalf and in honor of you, cutting and clearing all of the cords, dissolving all entanglements, clearing all energies through all space, time, and dimensions, all layers and levels since you were born as a seed of light into creation. Dissolving all those fears, those worries, the concerns, clearing out the discomfort, breathing in compassion, a gift from Kuan Yin. She is the goddess and ascended master of divine compassion. And she's flooding you with her white light of compassion now, moving it through your heart line, which is through the center of your body and being. Moving that compassion, white light through your meridians, your nadis, your chakras, opening up every chakra, bringing the white light of compassion into every cell in your body. Bringing the white light of compassion into all particles of your energy. You're being called to your next level of spiritual initiation, where you stay true to yourself, where in this space and moving forward, it is safe and loving to release what no longer serves you. Know with each conscious step and breath you take and thought you think that there is a beautiful white flower of compassion and love blooming from your heart chakra. You are growing your garden of blessings. Now I want you to imagine that the voice of your higher self and the angels of white light and harmony, God, the divine councils, are all singing together in harmony, calling you home to yourself. I want you to feel this sound through every cell in your body. You are growing so fast out of your old life and changing your vibration. It is safe to release what no longer feels right for you. You are remembering and awakening to your beloved self, your true self, and no longer identifying with limitations. Feel that calling in every cell in your body. Feel that calling of coming home to yourself. And we're going to bring in a few more essences. One is Mother Mary with a lot of nurturing energy for you at this time. And we're also going to bring the flame of resurrection through your body and being. And Jesus and Mary Magdalene are the representation of the divine feminine, divine masculine of unconditional love. And they rule this flame to gift it to all of us. They work with this flame. And so they're going to move this flame of resurrection, which is a violet and golden color, through the center of your heart line, center of your body and being. And activating that flame of resurrection, that golden and purple light in every cell in your body and all particles of your energy, every organ, gland, system, every thought, every particle of your DNA, all of the chakras, meridians, nadis, a complete and total resurrection, stepping out of who you once were and into who you were meant to be, and your fullest expression of your true self here. And the last gift coming forward for you today in this guided healing is with Apollo and Athena, who rule the sun. They work with the energy of the sun, and they gift you the divine masculine, divine feminine essence of strength, right? So just imagining the radiating sun being activated in every cell in your body, every particle of your energy, your chakras, your DNA, every part of your entire being flooding the hora line. Beautiful. And Archangel Ariel coming in with her pink auric light to help you ground and anchor in what your heart desires. She's holding that loving, nurturing space for you, reminding you again, it is safe to let go and step into this new field. You are not who you once were, not an hour ago or yesterday. You're in the newness of your divine truth. And all of the divine bowing in honor of you and flooding unconditional love to all of your hearts. It is our true honor to serve you. Namaste. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes and come back here with us.